All right, folks, we are back, and we're going to tackle a couple of subjects here that are of the utmost importance when it comes to our national security, certainly. And joining us in that effort is Gordon Chang, Asia expert, Forbes columnist, and, of course, the author of The Coming Collapse of China. Hi, Gordon.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thanks for coming on. Really do appreciate it. Let's start with what's going on in North Korea, and the news coming yesterday that Kim Jong Un's uncle had been executed by order of Kim Jong Un, one would presume, and this was 2 years after taking power, and they were talking about the fact that his uncle had been arrested, but did this quick trial, quote unquote, and execution come as a huge shock?
I think it actually did, because this is the first time that there's been a public announcement of an execution of a member of the Kim family circle. And so this is something which is certainly unusual. In the past, Kim family members have been shuffled off to other countries. Some have disappeared, but never has there been an announcement of this sort. So we're in uncharted territory.
Right, and we don't really know. I'm sorry, I hope I didn't interrupt. We don't really know if this involves a power struggle, if this is the beginning of one or the end of one. Will there be more arrests? Or do they believe that there were other people in cahoots with his uncle that trying to overthrow him? I mean, where do you think we are within the government of Kim Jong Un?
There are a couple things here. First of all, this could be a blood feud, because Jang Song Thaek, the executed official, is rumored to have had an affair with Kim Jong Un's wife. So there's all sorts of stories there. But in addition, it is also a power struggle, because Kim Jong Un wants to consolidate his position, and this is going to have reverberations, because Jang Song Thaek had friends throughout the regime. Now they know that they will themselves either be executed or forced into death camps with their families, which means that they've either got to fight or flee. So there's going to be all sorts of problems that we're going to see out of North Korea over the next several months and maybe even years.
All right. So do you believe that this either indicates or will result in a legitimate threat to his rule, or just a continuing chasing down of those who are going to be on the run, and they really have no way of pursuing an overthrow of his government?
I think that there is actually a threat to his rule. We don't know the dimension of the threat, but clearly there are people here who want revenge. We have to remember that in the first 2 years of Kim Jong Un's rule, about 45% of senior regime officials have been replaced and purged. Some of them have been executed. That means a lot of people want to get back in, and I think revenge will be the dynamic of North Korean regime politics for quite some time to come. There's going to be a lot of turmoil and uncertainty, and this really means that North Korea could actually become quite dangerous, not only to its neighbors, but also to the United States.
And how so to the United States? Provocation with South Korea, more launching of nuclear testing, etc.?
Yes, North Korea is perfectly capable of striking out against its neighbors. Many of them we have treaty obligations to defend. South Korea, for instance, Japan. And also, the North Koreans could very well be acting with the Chinese. The Chinese have been trying to impinge on freedom of navigation. And if there has been any consistent American foreign policy over the course of 2 centuries, it has been the defense of freedom of navigation. So we have all sorts of implications for us. And at the end of the day, we are the ultimate guarantor of peace and security in North Asia.
Yeah, well, we have always been with the foreign policy of this administration. One wonders what would happen, God forbid. But we're talking to Gordon Chang, Forbes columnist, expert on Asia, of course, and the author of The Coming Collapse of China. Let's talk about China in the remaining few minutes we have. A Chinese naval vessel forcing a U.S.-guided missile warship to stop in international waters, causing a standoff of sorts. What is this all about, and how much concern should we have over this seeming provocation on the part of China?
Yeah, this has been one of a number of provocations in international waters. The Chinese are trying to force the United States Navy out of its periphery, and so we have seen incidents much worse than this one. And the United States has not really, and I think that this is unfortunate, but we have not made it clear to the Chinese in public and in private that we will not tolerate behavior of this sort with interference with our vessels. In March 2009, the Chinese actually tried to sever a towed sonar array off of an unarmed U.S. Navy reconnaissance vessel that constituted a direct attack on the United States, and we did nothing about it.
Yeah, well, of course, when you show weakness, especially to the likes of China, that just you could predict there's going to be more. Now, what about the airspace? Of course, China recently declaring that all commercial and non-commercial flights need clearance and need to announce themselves when coming into a specific airspace. What do we make of that?
Well, this is clearly an attempt to control airspace around China's borders. The United States did the right thing initially by sending 2 B-52s through China's air defense identification zone without complying with China's rules.
But then after that, they said, we'll comply, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, what happened later is that the State Department then told American civilian airliners to comply with China's rules, which was a terrible mistake. What we should have been doing is telling American airliners to stay out of the air zone altogether, because this is going to become a very dangerous place with planes of different nations flying wingtips to wingtips. And clearly the Chinese have been engaged in very provocative flying in the East China and South China Seas. So this is something where we need to tell our civilian airlines to stay out of.
Yeah.
We should not have told them to comply with Beijing's rules.
Oh, boy. Well, Gordon, I appreciate your expertise. Fascinating and frightening stuff all the way around. Thank you very much for coming on, sir.
Thank you.
My pleasure. That's Gordon Chang, Forbes columnist and author of The Coming Collapse of China. But you notice what he said. Notice what he said about about how we did the wrong thing with China. We did the wrong thing twice. We did the wrong thing with North Korea. If North Korea turns into a real national security issue, what do you think we're going to do? What will we do? I don't think we'll do anything under this administration. Nothing. We'll capitulate. We'll say we're sorry, because that's what Barack Obama likes to do. All right, folks, we're coming back. Steve Malzberg. It's Friday. That's always a good thing on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.